I don't see how anyone could look at my life before my wife and say that now.
Devoted husband, loving father, and skilled outdoorsman. Fans admired his steady presence amid the chaos and drama of life in the Alaskan wilderness. But recently, shocking news has come to light that has left Noah blindsided. And viewers are left wondering how someone so prepared for the unpredictable could face such a sudden and heartbreaking event. The tragedy that struck Noah wasn't something anyone saw coming. It wasn't a harsh winter, a survival challenge, or even a family conflict, the kinds of obstacles he had faced and overcome countless times before. This was deeply personal, striking at the heart of his family life and leaving him struggling to process the emotional weight of the situation. Friends and close family members have described it as an event that shook Noah to his core, challenging his resilience in ways even the wilderness never had done, as fans notice Noah's absence online and subtle changes in his public updates. The reality becomes clearer. He's dealing with an emotional storm far bigger than anything previously revealed on the show. This is a side of Noah Brown that few have witnessed, quiet, vulnerable, and grappling with life-altering news that demands more than strength alone. In this video, we take an in-depth look at the heartbreaking events that Noah never saw coming, the personal toll it has taken, and what this could mean for his future in and out of the spotlight. Noah Brown has always been the steady force among the Brown family, known for his calm demeanor and practical approach to life in the Alaskan wilderness. He was often the one family members and fans alike could rely on to handle tense situations with patience and level-headedness. While other members of the family made headlines for dramatic moments, Noah quietly focused on building a stable home for his wife, Rain, and their children. His dedication to family life and the daily routines of survival in the wild painted the picture of a man grounded, reliable, and prepared for life's challenges, or so everyone thought. For years, Noah meticulously balanced life in the wilderness with the responsibilities of fatherhood and marriage. He was involved in every aspect of his children's lives, teaching them essential survival skills, instilling discipline, and sharing moments of joy that few viewers ever saw on camera. Outside the lens of reality TV, Noah's life seemed simple, structured, and predictable, a stark contrast to the unpredictable chaos that often surrounded the family. However, behind the scenes, subtle signs of strain began to appear long before the heartbreaking news surfaced. Close friends and family noticed that Noah was quieter than usual, more introspective, and occasionally withdrawn. While fans assumed this was just the natural rhythm of his private life, those who knew him best sensed a shift. The steady, calm presence that had been Noah's hallmark was now tinged with tension, hinting at underlying issues that were slowly growing into something more serious. The first real indication that something was amiss came with changes in his online presence. Social media, which Noah had used to share glimpses of family life, became noticeably sparse. Photos of family outings, videos of playful moments with his children, and updates from the property all but disappeared. Fans speculated, some assumed he was focused on family, while others wondered if personal matters had temporarily pulled him away. Yet the reality was far more serious than anyone imagined. Even within the family, Noah's unusual behavior did not go unnoticed. Family members who were typically candid with one another noticed his detachment and made subtle attempts to check in. He remained polite, kind, and composed, but there was a quiet heaviness in his demeanor that suggested he was carrying a burden too heavy to share. As the weeks passed, it became clear that Noah was confronting something deeply personal, an event that would change the course of his life forever. By all outward appearances, Noah's life continued as usual. He maintained daily routines, cared for his children, and participated in family projects. But beneath the surface, the foundations of his world were quietly shifting. The balance he had worked so hard to achieve between family, work, and personal peace was about to be disrupted in a way that no one, not even Noah himself, could have foreseen. This was the calm before the storm, a period of quiet, careful stability that masked the emotional upheaval on the horizon. Noah's story reminds us that even the most composed individuals can be blindsided by sudden tragedy, and that life, no matter how carefully managed, can change in an instant. Noah Brown's life took an unexpected turn when an event occurred that no one saw coming. A moments so sudden and impactful that it shook the very foundation of his family life. Unlike the familiar challenges of Alaskan wilderness survival, this situation was deeply personal and emotionally overwhelming. It wasn't something that could be predicted, prepared for, or mitigated with practical skills. For a man accustomed to thinking ahead and managing crises, the event left him stunned, grappling with a mixture of shock, grief, and disbelief. The details of what transpired were closely guarded, shared only with immediate family and a few trusted friends. What made the situation particularly devastating was its suddenness. Noah, who had carefully structured his life around stability for his wife and children, was forced to confront an unexpected reality that demanded immediate attention and emotional resilience. In interviews with those close to him, they describe it as a moment that caught him completely off guard, something he never saw coming. In the truest sense, as the news began to spread among close family members, subtle changes in Noah's behavior became noticeable. He withdrew from public interactions, canceled plans, and limited communication with anyone outside his immediate household. Even small daily routines that once ran like clockwork began to feel overwhelming. Friends who reached out noticed a quiet tension, a heaviness in his tone, and a reluctance to discuss the situation. This was a side of Noah rarely seen by fans, a vulnerable man facing circumstances far beyond the usual challenges of life in the wilderness. The emotional impact on Noah extended beyond himself. His wife, Rain, became his primary support, helping him navigate the complex emotions and responsibilities that followed. Even for someone as level-headed as Noah, coping with the emotional fallout required immense strength. He had to balance personal grief with the demands of parenthood, ensuring that his children remained protected and emotionally stable, even as he struggled privately. The pressure was immense, testing his resilience and patience in ways he hadn't anticipated. Family dynamics also shifted during this period. The Brown family has always faced internal tensions and conflicts, but the sudden nature of Noah's struggle created new challenges. Attempts to offer advice or assistance sometimes led to misunderstandings, as different family members processed the situation in varying ways. Noah found himself needing space and time to work through his emotions, while others wanted him to engage and communicate more openly. This balancing act added another layer of complexity to an already difficult situation, further highlighting the unique pressures he faced. Despite the overwhelming nature of the event, Noah began taking steps toward recovery. He focused on small, manageable tasks that allowed him to regain a sense of control over his life. Daily routines, such as caring for his children, maintaining the property, and working on minor projects became essential anchors. These small victories reminded him that while life had changed dramatically, he still had the capacity to rebuild and move forward. This moment marked a turning point in Noah's life. It was a reminder that even those who appear most prepared and composed can be blindsided by life's challenges. For Noah Brown, the event was not just a test of endurance, it was a profound lesson in resilience, adaptation, and the strength of family bonds. As he navigated this heartbreak, fans and loved ones alike could witness the quiet courage and determination that defined him. Even in the face of unimaginable adversity, the sudden tragedy that struck Noah Brown didn't just affect him personally. It reverberated throughout his family and their daily life. For someone who had long been the stabilizing force in the Brown household, the emotional toll was significant. Friends and family observed that even small decisions became harder, and the calm, measured approach Noah was known for seemed increasingly difficult to maintain. The impact of the heartbreak extended beyond emotional strain. It began influencing how the family functioned on a daily basis. Noah's children, though young, were sensitive to changes in their environment. Even before the details of the tragedy were made public, they could sense the shift in their father's mood and energy. Parents often underestimate how perceptive children can be, and in this case, the emotional distance Noah unintentionally created affected them deeply. Rain, his wife, took on the dual role of caregiver and emotional anchor, striving to protect the children while also supporting Noah. Her efforts were critical, but the strain on her own well-being was apparent, demonstrating just how far-reaching the effects of the sudden heartbreak had become. In addition to the family dynamics, the tragedy impacted Noah's relationship with the broader Brown family. Historically, the Browns have faced their fair share of internal conflicts and disagreements, and the added stress tested even the closest bonds. Efforts to offer support were sometimes misinterpreted, and well-meaning interventions occasionally created tension. Noah's need for space clashed with the natural desire of his family to be involved, creating moments of friction that added to the emotional burden he was already carrying. Navigating these interactions required patience, clear communication, and immense emotional strength, and Noah had to learn to balance his personal grief with the expectations and love of his extended family. Another significant challenge was how the tragedy affected Noah's public presence. Fans who follow Alaskan bush people online began noticing gaps in updates, changes in posting patterns, and subtle hints that something was amiss. Speculation grew, ranging from minor health concerns to more serious personal issues. While some fans were supportive, others added pressure with questions and assumptions. For Noah, managing public perception while coping with private pain created an additional layer of stress. He had to find ways to maintain privacy while still providing reassurance to the audience that cared deeply about him and his family. Despite the ripple effects, Noah's response demonstrated remarkable resilience. He gradually found ways to reconnect with his children, restore stability in the household, and communicate with his extended family on his own terms. Small victories, like a calm day spent on the property, a shared moment of laughter, or completing a routine task without emotional overwhelm, became critical markers of progress. These moments reminded Noah that healing, while slow, was possible. Noah's life highlighted the interconnectedness of personal struggles and family dynamics. The tragedy he faced showed that even strong, grounded individuals are vulnerable to unexpected events, and that recovery requires both internal strength and external support. For Noah Brown, the journey through grief was not a solitary one. It involved navigating emotions, relationships, and responsibilities, all while trying to preserve the stability and safety of the family he loves most. After the sudden, heartbreaking event that shook Noah Brown to his core, the road to recovery was neither quick nor easy. The challenges he faced, emotional, familial, and personal, were complex and ongoing. Yet, through it all, Noah began to discover the resilience and inner strength that would allow him to gradually regain a sense of stability. This process of rebuilding was as much about emotional healing as it was about re-establishing daily routines and family balance. One of the first steps Noah took was focusing on the small, tangible tasks that brought a sense of control back into his life. Even in the wilderness where life is unpredictable, these daily routines became anchors. Caring for his children, maintaining the property, and engaging in familiar survival tasks provided a sense of normalcy that helped him navigate the emotional storm. Each completed task, no matter how minor, became a small victory, proof that he could regain stability despite the upheaval. Family support played a pivotal role in Noah's recovery. Rain, his wife, remained a constant presence, offering encouragement, understanding, and patience. She helped create a safe environment where Noah could process his emotions without judgment. At the same time, selective communication with other family members allowed him to rebuild trust and maintain connections while protecting his own emotional space. These deliberate boundaries were essential in preventing further stress and ensuring that Noah could heal at his own pace. Noah also learned the importance of embracing vulnerability. For someone accustomed to projecting strength and calm, opening up about grief was difficult but necessary. By allowing himself to acknowledge the depth of his emotions, he gradually released some of the weight he had been carrying. This honest confrontation with his feelings did not happen overnight. It was a gradual process of self-reflection, quiet moments, and occasional support from trusted friends. Over time, it enabled Noah to reclaim a sense of emotional balance and clarity. Creatively, Noah began channeling his emotions into constructive outlets. Simple projects around the property, planning for future improvements, or teaching his children new skills provided both focus and a sense of accomplishment. These activities reminded him of his resilience and reinforced the idea that, even in the face of unexpected tragedy, life could still offer moments of fulfillment and purpose. It also highlighted a valuable lesson. Strength is not the absence of vulnerability, but the ability to continue moving forward, despite it. By gradually rebuilding routines, reconnecting with family, and finding ways to process grief, Noah Brown started to regain the grounded, steady presence that fans had admired for so long. He began to share glimpses of life again, carefully balancing privacy with transparency, allowing supporters to see that he was healing without exposing every intimate detail. These measured steps reflect the wisdom he gained from facing one of the most challenging periods of his life. Ultimately, the tragedy taught Noah that resilience is forged in moments of vulnerability and perseverance. It reminded him and his family of the importance of emotional support, patience, and self-care. While the heartbreak will always be a part of his story, Noah's journey forward illustrates the power of determination, love, and the enduring strength of family bonds. Today, he continues to face life with courage, guided by the lessons learned and a renewed commitment to his family, his children, and the life he has worked so hard to protect.